Everyone, thank you for telling me that, Sabrina. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for the Higher Education Administration Program Virtual Information Session for North Carolina Central University. There may be times where I might let a couple more people into the room since it is locked, so I may pause every now and again in between this session so that everyone can get admitted. But I just thank you so much for your interest in this program. We hope that you learn all that you need to in regards to what our program is about and our requirements for admission. And then hopefully that may influence you to apply to our program for our fall 2021 admission. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I will leave a few minutes at the end for questions, but know that if we can't get to everyone because we are on a limited session, that I will be available by phone and email for any questions. But hopefully I can get to all of your questions today if you have any, and hopefully this information will be comprehensive for you. So let's get started. So first and foremost, for those who perhaps may be a little bit unfamiliar with NCCU, I just wanted to share a little bit of background information to get you familiar with our university. So North Carolina Central University was founded by Dr. James E. Shepard, a Durham pharmacist and religious educator, in 1910. Previously known as the North Carolina College at Durham, it became North Carolina Central University in 1969. NCCU is one of 16 public institutions of higher education within the University of North Carolina system. It's located in Durham, North Carolina, and is considered a part of the Triangle region for anyone else who may be unfamiliar with the Triangle. So a little bit about the School of Education. So the School of Education is where our program is housed. What we know today as the School of Education, however, began in 1925 with courses intended to train Black teachers and principals to work in the racially segregated school system of the Jim Crow South. It became a department in the College of Arts in 1928 and a full-fledged School of Education in 1989. Today, the School of Education consists of two departments. We have Allied Professions, which is where the Higher Education Administration program is housed, and the Department of Curriculum and Instruction. So the Department of Allied Professions houses graduate degree programs not only in higher education administration, but also in counselor education. The Department of Curriculum Instruction has a number of different programs related to undergraduate and graduate degree programs in teaching, such as elementary education, middle grades education, education technology, school administration, and special education programs. So let me tell you a little bit about the mission of our program. So the mission of the Higher Education Administration program is to prepare professionals to work in higher education settings, so colleges and universities, post-secondary educational institutions, where they promote social justice and responsibility, serve as leaders, and respond to the complexity of college student needs. The goal of our program is to produce exceptional practitioners who will then engage in best practices that foster 21st century college environments where all students can thrive and successfully matriculate in a timely manner. So now I want to talk to you about what our learning outcomes. So students who go through our program, we want them to learn a number of different key outcomes that are going to help them to become successful higher education administrators and practitioners. So graduate students who complete our Masters of Science in Higher Education Administration at NCCU will be able to do the following. We want them to develop a theoretically solid philosophy of practice in higher education, integrating both research data into evidence-based practice. We want our students to be able to formulate a professional identity that responds to the needs of student populations while also utilizing culturally competent practices and procedures. We want our students to become well acquainted with current trends and issues concerning students and student affairs divisions on college and university campuses. And we want them to become familiar with the typical organization structures of student affairs divisions, as well as the multiple functional areas within the profession. And probably the most important thing that we want our students to be able to do upon graduating from our program is we want them to go out into the field and be able to articulate the nature of student affairs work and also persuasively justify its role in student learning and development. So we say to our students, if you're going to go out here for an interview, we definitely want you to be able to say why student affairs work is important or why student affairs work even in academic settings are important, and be able to justify its role in student learning and development. So just some of our program highlights. We are a 42 credit hour program that is 100% online. So there is no face-to-face courses within the program. Everything is particularly, specifically online, which could be really ideal for those who are wanting to finish at their own pace. So whether you are a student who wants to go full time in the program, you can finish within about 22 months, which looks to be 2 years and a summer semester, or perhaps you're someone who's more of a working professional, or trying to balance family and life or any of those things. Perhaps you want to spend a little bit more time. Now, we do know that the graduate school will give you 6 years to finish, but we always say to our students, you will be done with our 42 credit hour program before then, because we will have good advisors to keep you on track to finish. And I would definitely say we have a good mixture currently of both students within our program. We have those who are going full time and we have those who are going part time. Um, I always get asked the question, do you have to come in with a certain number of years of experience? No, we do have people who've already worked in the field of higher education who are looking for that, master's degree required position, or perhaps to move up in the area they're in, or to switch into a different area. But we also have people who have not had any experiences, but perhaps have a particular interest based off of maybe experiences that they've had in their undergraduate program, or perhaps connections that they've had since graduation. So we want you to know that there's a place for all students coming from different areas, as long as you can effectively articulate why this program is for you and will help you in your career trajectory. So it is ideal for those who desire to attain strong theoretical skills and competencies necessary to excel in diverse higher education settings. All right. So again, with that in mind, it is designed for the current practitioner, if that, is someone that is perhaps you. So it really will design for all ages, again, and all backgrounds, if that's something that you're interested in. But another thing that I'd like to note here is that it is designed for current higher education administrators as well. Again, for those who desire to strengthen their skill set and knowledge base in order to obtain a graduate degree that will help them enhance their practices and perhaps advance to that mid-level supervisory position. Um, Also, it's ideal for students who desire to work full-time while pursuing a graduate degree in this program area. And I'm going to talk in a moment about our practicum experience in those hours, because there's some stipulations surrounding that. But do know that because it's 100% online, we do try to make it as flexible enough for a balance. Here is just a display of the various programs and services that can be offered on college campuses and where higher education administrators work. So as you can see, this is not an exhaustive list. The list goes on and on and on, but there are an array of opportunities that are needing higher education administrators and student affairs practitioners to work. So anywhere from academic advising, career services, intercollegiate athletics, student affairs research, TRIO programs, registrar's office, financial aid, multicultural services, housing, dining, there's so many different opportunities. And what I've found thus far is that our students currently in the program have an array of different interests as it relates to what they desire to pursue as a career trajectory in a particular functional area once they graduate. And so they've also found different opportunities to engage in those offices. So we just want you to know that the work of a higher education administrator is something that is important and pertinent, and to have that background is very valuable. And there's a number of different areas that you can go and work in as a result of it. I know I've worked in a few of these. I've worked in housing, I've worked in diversity affairs, I've worked in pre-college programs. And what I found is that there's kind of an interwoven connection between the offices that you may work with that collaborate and connect. And so it really makes it valuable to have those experiences. So just know that if you get a degree in this field, that it will be valuable for you in moving forward in your career. And these are just some examples of various careers that people in higher education may hold, anywhere from entry level all the way up the chain, to directors and assistant vice chancellors and the like. So this, again, this list is not exhaustive, but it gives you an idea of where you could go in your field, whether it's being starting out as an academic advisor and then becoming the director of an advising center, and then perhaps moving up the chain to become, assistant vice chancellor of student affairs if you go back to, to school and get your doctorate or whatnot. But the idea here is that there are several ways to expand upon opportunities with this degree program. So this is just sharing the core curriculum. What you received from me via email earlier was our complete academic core curriculum that you may have found, but I'm going to break it down here so that you can kind of see the different courses that are involved in the 42 credit hours. And so what we want to do in this program, what we've been doing in this program, is we want our students to have learning in the following areas. So foundational studies, professional studies, and then supervised practice. So students must demonstrate the necessary knowledge and skill in each of these areas in order to complete the program. So for foundational studies for this program, those include courses in the history of higher education, introduction to student affairs, and diversity in higher education. Professional studies include courses in the theories of college student development, college students in the campus environment, educational research, and then also legal and policy issues in higher education. Supervised practice includes a supervised clinical experience course, and then this program also includes a higher education capstone experience as a culminating course, which you'll be able to do a research related project to culminate your experience and then share with your peers. All right, I'm going to check to see if anyone else needs to get in. Nope. All right. Oh, let's go back. All right, let's talk a little bit about the supervised clinical experience, because I found that this perhaps has the most questions every time I present. So I want to make sure to give some background information here. So there are 300 hours of supervised practice in the field that we require in order for students to gain exposure to both the breadth and depth of higher education, administration, and student affairs work. And that's a number that's really been solidified by the professional practice that we use for higher education and student affairs programs. But we require this because we want our students to gain experience in developmental work with both individual students and groups of students in program planning, implementation, and evaluation, staff training, advising or supervision, and administration functions or processes. So supervision must be provided on-site by competent professionals who are approved by and working in cooperation with our program faculty. They must provide direct regular supervision and evaluation of students' experiences. Supervised clinical experience is reserved for students who have successfully completed the sequence of courses pertaining to the basic foundational knowledge of professional practice, which are our 5 core courses. Um, for the 300 hours, we allow our students to either complete those within one semester, which looks to be about 20 hours a week of time, or they can complete it over 2 semesters, depending on if they want to split their experience, which looks to be about 10 hours of work. And as we know, in higher education and student affairs, that can vary depending on what office you're deciding to go to. So, for example, if you're someone who's interested in housing and residence life, you may be able to get hours on the weekends and in the evenings. It really just depends on your professional area that you'd like to pursue. But it is a requirement, again, to get those 300 hours, whether you get it from the class in one semester or you break it down and get it over the course of 2 semesters, of which the instructor of that program will kind of supervise and make sure that you're logging those hours and getting them signed off before you can successfully complete the course. All right, the program also includes instruction in counseling skills, helping skills, and group dynamics. I have found that our students, and just in general for higher education programs, when there is some level of a counseling focus where higher education administrators can learn, it helps them to be better practitioners in working with students. So our program does require up to 6 hours, which looks to be about 2 classes of counseling and counselor education courses, because we want our graduates to be able to demonstrate the knowledge and skills necessary to design and also evaluate effective educational interventions for individuals and groups, as well as be able to identify and refer individuals who need additional resources. So as such, students are required to take 6 hours or 2 courses in the area of counseling or counselor education. And so optional coursework includes either taking ethical and professional issues in counseling, vocational theory and career development, psychosocial development and behavioral dynamics, or introduction to mental health counseling. Additionally, the higher education program includes the opportunity to take up to 6 hours of elective credit courses. If a student has an interest in a particular functional area, then they can also choose to take classes in specific areas. So let's talk about that a little bit. So they may choose to take a specific interest area. So for example, you may have a student, or you may be interested in athletic administration, or perhaps institutional effectiveness and data metrics, or leadership, or maybe you're interested in counseling, or any other areas you may be interested in, but you're allowed to take at least 6 hours of elective courses, which looks to be about 2 more courses for our program. All right. I just want to introduce you to our faculty for just a moment and to acknowledge them of who you may be studying under if you were accepted into our program or decide to apply to our program. One thing to note about our faculty is that they're experienced and they are esteemed higher education administrators and educators. They have professional experience in a variety of functional areas across several different types of colleges and universities. Their impact on college campuses across the nation have been substantial, and they are bringing their knowledge and experiences to our virtual classrooms. So our faculty, they teach and mentor students, they serve the higher education profession, and they also promote intellectual advancement through their professional work and research. So our professors are in the field working as pretty higher level administrators, who are then bringing their knowledge to our program. And so what you're going to find here is a lot of connection from their professional experiences that they currently had or have had based on their either current or previous institutions, which really fares well in a master's program for our students looking to get into the field or move up in the field. All right, just a note about admissions requirements. So our program does require a minimum 2.75 cumulative undergraduate GPA, and a 3.0 GPA is required in our undergraduate major. If you are a second master's degree seeking candidate, so for those who already have earned a master's degree and looking to gain a second master's degree within our program, you must have a minimum 3.0 cumulative GPA. You must also have a bachelor's degree from an accredited institution, and an interview with our admissions committee, a virtual interview, if you are one of the top applicants selected for an interview. Something else to note are application requirements. So you will complete an NCCU graduate school application. So you have to apply online. There is a $50 application fee. We also require 2 letters of recommendations by persons who are knowledgeable about your abilities, perhaps someone who has worked in a supervisory role with you, or have some kind of direct knowledge of the applicant's leadership skills. So keep that in mind. We also need an official sealed manuscript for any institutions you've attended. And if English is not your native language, or for international students, we also require TOEFL scores or IELTS scores. And the same for international students only, a financial statement certificate of eligibility, if that is a requirement for you. And just some information about our admissions timeline. Our deadline will be February 1st, 2021. We only accept admission once per year for fall admission only. So that will be fall 2021. We will then go through all of our applications and select our top applicants for an interview with faculty between February 24th through 26th. From there, we will select, narrow it down even more to select our top students for our next cohort. Unfortunately, we can't take everyone, and there's a number of different factors that play into that, but we will be narrowing it down from there. And then March 12th, once we reach out to those students, March 12th is a deadline to accept invitation for our program. And that is all. So first, and I guess the biggest thing here is that we want individuals who are really going to help the next generation of college students reach success. And so at this moment, I want to open it up for any questions you have. And before that too, just take note of my information if you'd like to contact me. My information is there. And I've also included a couple of website links for more information about the program as well. So I'll leave that up, and then I'm going to open up the floor for any questions that anyone may have.
Hey, hopefully you can hear me. Got a couple questions.
Yes.
Yeah, Evan Grant.
Hi, hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
One, in regards to the clinical experience. So how does that work if you already work in an educational institution? Is this something you all have encountered before? And if not, do you know? Yeah, what would be the best way? I think that's question one.
Absolutely. Well, you know, we actually have attracted quite a few students who currently work in offices at colleges and universities. And what we've been informing them is, if you'd like to, you know, work in your position and use that towards your hours, you can. But I also give the caveat of, if you're looking to stay within your office and perhaps do a, you know, a step up, that you ask whoever's supervising you to give you those opportunities to engage within that work within your office. Because if you aren't where you want to be now, we want to make sure you can get there. Or if you are where you need to be and they're just telling you need that master's degree, at least if you're going to stay within that role, to at least incorporate things within your office that you could do that can help in to sharpen you even more. I think I can give the example of someone who, let's see, let me talk. Yes, I have a student who's already working in intercollegiate athletics as a coordinator, and they're going to be getting some experiences underneath the director to figure out what the directors do and to gain experiences as a potential director. So I think that one of the things that we want to make sure is that you're getting to the place where you need to be. But we're cognizant that a lot of people work in higher ed and they don't have that master's and they need that. So we'll be able to handle that on a case-by-case basis. Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. Appreciate it. And then the second question, so I saw the distinguishment between, the undergraduate degree and then if anyone already has a master's degree. I have a law degree. Will that,
nice.
how will that factor in any way?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Well, then you'll be really great with that law and policy. And you might have already taken that in a higher ed, but yes, absolutely. So, and we do have students who fall within that category. So I have to go through a number of steps to get those courses approved. And of course it has to be within the last like 2 to 3 years as well. So if you've gotten a law degree like 20 years ago, then that might not be something that I would be able to do. But if it's within the last, if it's in the last few years, I can go through our university council to get a vote for an approval to get those courses approved as, depending on what you have, whether it's an elective course.
Right.
I've had some students who've already taken the statistics courses and things of that nature. They just have to be within a certain number of years, or otherwise we do ask them to take it again. But there are steps to go through the university in order to do that. So I've done that a couple of times for students who are second degree master's seeking. So again, I look at the transcript to see when you've taken it, what may transfer over, and then we go through the steps with getting it approved and then sending that, with all the signatures to the registrar's office, and then they get that added if that's approved.
Okay, awesome. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions?
I have a question regarding the transcripts.
Yes.
So if I went to North Carolina before undergrad, would I still have to request my transcript from the registrar's office?
Sabrina may be able to answer this, but I want to say, I think you all have been able to pull those transcripts from the NCCU alumni, or?
Yes, that's correct. So hello, everyone. My name is Sabrina Butler, and I work in the graduate school, particularly with admissions. So anyone who has attended NCCU in the past, you are not required to order that official transcript. We will download that directly from the banner system.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? It looks like I might have been gifted with more time from Zoom, so ask any questions you may need.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, this is Shonda.
Hi, Shonda.
And my question is, if you're a student currently in a master's program and you want to transfer over to this particular program, do you still follow along with the same application process, transcript request, letters of recommendation? Do you still follow along with that, or is there a shorter process for getting into the program?
I can probably answer.
And I have one question. Are you a current NCCU graduate student, you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll let you go, Regina, and if I need to add anything, I will.
Okay, sure, for sure. I was just going to say, in fairness of our process of getting into our program, I feel that we'd have to need students to apply to our program specifically, just because, we have to consider the applicant pool and making it sure that we're having a fair system for selecting students. And so I would just say that, but Sabrina, what do you think?
Yeah, so she's correct. Currently, unlike undergraduate, you are not allowed to simply change a major at the graduate level. So you do have to actually apply for that program. And of course, you would need to submit new recommendations because you are applying for a different program. Your current recommendations will, in fact, reference the program to which you are currently enrolled in. You will not have to order new transcripts we will use the same transcripts we received for your previous application. But now we do run everyone through the National Student Clearinghouse. So any schools and colleges that you did attend that you did not include on your application, once we run you through Clearinghouse, they will be automatically added.
Okay.
So those transcripts will be required if you did in fact leave anything off when you first were admitted. Now, what term were you admitted? Do you mind me asking?
What was I admitted in 2018?
Okay, so that means when you were admitted, we were not running people through Clearinghouse. If in fact you did leave any school off that particular application, it will show up on this one if you don't include it, because it'll automatically be added.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Sure.
Yes. Any other questions?
Yes. Hi, my name is Kaylin Delap. I have a question.
Hi. Hi.
For the
Yes.
supervised clinical experience, do we get to choose what site we go to?
Absolutely. Yes. We allow our students to choose site, and they're all over. So right now we have our first kind of cohort of students who are in the field, and they are at Central, they're at UNCC, we have a student at NCANT, anyway, all over. So we do allow you to. Now we do have something called a memorandum of agreement, or MOA. And as long as the site and the supervisor meets the criteria as listed on that MOA agreement, then of course we have to approve your site, but you get a chance to kind of pick and have an opportunity. And normally what I do is I'll have a session with students prior to them going into their practicum experience to just talk about the process, where to look, how to look. And then what I normally do, just with a connection with the university, for those who are looking to work in student affairs on our campus, is I'll ask the Division of Student Affairs to fill out a recruitment profile for our students if they want to choose a site where they know that they're looking. And some of our students are even serving as graduate assistants in some of those departments. But to answer your question, yes, we do allow our students to choose, as long as they're meeting the criteria and that their site supervisor, meets that criteria. Then you can choose where you'd like to go on a college or university campus, and that includes community colleges as well.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? All right. Well, if there are no more questions, we just thank you for joining us for the session today. Please feel free to connect with me if you have any additional questions. I also can be reached. I wanted to give you a second email that I check even more often than the other one that was listed, and it's rwill233@nccu.edu. I'm sure you received an email from me for this, so feel free to connect with me there too if you have any more questions. But we look forward to your applications, and thank you for joining us today. Have a good rest of your day.